What's going on, y'all? OJ back here with another video. I just finished my last set of finals. Did I do well in them? Probably. I'm probably gonna graduate, which is good enough. But yeah, now that my exams are over, I'm officially unemployed. And while I'm searching for jobs, I'm probably gonna be making videos every single day. And over the past few days, a lot has happened. John Jones is in Thailand tugging on other men's hair, and we got a bunch of fight news that will I cover? Probably not. Like I've seen them, but it's been a while since the announcements came, and I don't want to just make a video talking about like news that happened like 2, 3 days ago. But yes, regardless, if you're wondering if I saw them or not, I did see all the fight news. I'm very excited for International Fight Week. I'll just say this for briefly for International Fight Week at least. I hope that Charles Oliveira wins. I really hope. Do I think it's gonna happen? Probably not, but I'll get into more analysis as the week comes along. But regardless, I've wasted enough of your time, so here is UFC Fight Night. Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. Full card predictions, starting with the early prelims and ending with the main event. Starting off with an absolute barn burner that we will all be watching on Saturday night at 4 p.m. Tecia Penington versus Luana Pinheiro. Uh, okay, no matter how much analysis I give this fight, you know it's going to be a 50-50. Like, I'm talking to the people who I unironically watch every single Apex card for some reason, like I do. You know this is going to end in a 29-28, a split decision, controversial, but not really because nothing really happened. And no matter, like, you can analyze the outside foot battle, all the X's and O's. It's going at a 50-50 at best. So I'm going to go with Tecia Pennington, though. She's been more active. Luana Pinheiro, she hasn't fought in a while. I believe the last fight she took was in 2024 against Julian Robertson. And Tecia Pennington. Wait, let me check if. Let me see how active Luana Pinheiro is, just to make sure I'm not blabbing shit out of my mouth. Okay, November 24. That all right, that's not bad. Oh, this is okay. Yeah, you can't be getting submitted by Angela Hill and then getting knocked out by Amanda Ribas. And I remember this one because this made me actually think that Ribas was some elite level striker because she threw a fucking wheel kick and knocked Pinero out. And yeah, you can't be getting wheel kicked by Amanda Ribas. So based on that logic, I'm gonna go with Tecia Pennington. Tecia Pennington, she can actually beat Angela Hill. And if she fights Amanda Ribas, I think she'll take it to a competitive decision. She's not getting out wheel kicked out here by fucking Amanda Ribas of all people. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Tecia Pennington wins this 29-28 decision. I Okay, am I gonna be mad if I get this wrong? Not really. Again, no matter how much analysis I put into this, at the end of the day, everyone knows this is a coin flip. You're probably gonna get at least one or two wrong on a card on every Apex card. So yeah, Tecia Pennington should win though. 29-28, 30-27 decision. If she wins by robbery, I don't give a shit. And if she loses by robbery, again, I don't really care. Moving on, we got Hyungsung Park versus Carlos Hernandez. I'm gonna go with Hyungsung Park. Am I just saying this because Hyungsung Park is Korean? No, because I do think Park has the answers to beat Carlos Hernandez. And don't get me wrong, Hernandez is decent. His grappling is pretty good, but I don't really see this guy just ragdolling everybody on the ground. There are times where like people can like just out grapple and out muscle Carlos Hernandez, and I don't think Sung Park is better in the grappling against Carlos Hernandez, but I think he's good enough to keep this fight on the feet. And on the feet, Carlos Hernandez, not that good. Now, I know that Park has had that hiccup with Shannon Ross, taking Shannon Ross to the second round in like, what, 2024. It's kind of a bad look, but is Carlos Hernandez that much better than Shannon Ross on the feet? I don't really think so. Hernandez doesn't really throw much of anything on the feet. Again, he primarily wins through just smudge grappling any flyweight that doesn't know what they're doing to like a 29-28 decision. And I think Hyungsung Park, watching his fight with Shannon Ross, which all right, fair enough, it's fucking Shannon Ross, but it showed me that he's not completely incompetent in the grappling. Whereas a lot of the guys that Hernandez beats in the UFC are just people who are completely incompetent in the grappling. So I'm gonna say that Hyungsung Park, he'll win the MMA fight by keeping this fight on the feet for 2 rounds. Maybe he can get a knockout, but I'm not too confident considering he went to a war with Shannon Ross. But yeah, I think he's good enough to piece up Carlos Hernandez on the feet for at least the first 2 rounds. I'm gonna say that Hyungsung Park wins this fight 29-28 decision. Moving on to Elise Reed versus Denise Gomes. I refuse to give some form of breakdown for Elise Reed. I watched her fight with Jessica Penne. How the fuck did she win that fight with Jessica Penne? Like Elise Reed, she just like backs off. She just like circles around in the back foot and literally throw nothing. Like if you're frustrated with someone like who was that who was that girl's name? She just fought on UFC 315. Fuck it. Natalia Silva. Yeah, yeah. She's like Natalia Silva, but without any output and no sense of wrestling. Like I watched her fight with Jessica Penne and it was a waste of my time. It was a waste of 15 minutes that I will never get back. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Denise Gomez wins. I'm done breaking down this fight. If Denise Gomez doesn't win, cut her from the UFC. Honestly, cut them both from the UFC if Denise Gomez loses. And if Elise Reed loses, then yeah, just make sure to cut her. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Denise Gomez, probably getting a TKO within the first 2 rounds. Moving on, we got Luana Santos versus Tainara Lisboa. I cannot find any footage of Tainara Lisboa, but I might pick her. You know what? Like, there's no. Again, I can't find any tape, and this is like purely based on vibes. But I don't like the way Luana Santos fought Casey O'Neill. Luana Santos, she was looking like a legitimate prospect like a few months ago, or maybe like a little less than a year ago. And then she fought Casey O'Neill in like August of 2024, and she looked awful that fight, like completely awful. And then I found out that she is more focused on her OnlyFans career. And I don't trust the Luana Santos to really have a disciplined mindset in their game. Remember, like she's a flyweight who's like for no reason she's moving up to bantamweight. Like Casey O'Neill was out muscling Luana Santos, and Casey O'Neill's a average sized women's flyweight. So I don't think Luana Santos' head's in the game. And I think Tainara Lisboa. I looked through her Instagram, see if she has an OnlyFans. She doesn't have an OnlyFans, so it tells me that she's actually uh focused in like improving her game. Whereas Luana Santos, she has an OnlyFans account. I don't like picking women with OnlyFans accounts. And yeah, I reckon that Tainara Lisboa gets the job done 29-28. This could be a coin flip, honestly, because Luana Santos has been a lot more active, which is crazy to say because she's fought the last time she's fought was 9 months ago against Casey O'Neill. But yeah, I think Tainara Lisboa got this. I think she does, even though I've never watched her fight, and I can't find footage of her fighting because again, watched Luana Santos versus Casey O'Neill. That shit was awful. Moving on, we got Yadier del Valle versus Connor Matthews. I'm gonna go with Connor Matthews. Like I watched the Yadier del Valle fight in the Contender Series against some random scrub. It was the most NPC matchup I could ever imagine. Neither of them really knew how to clinch. Neither of them really knew how to strike, especially Valet. Like his boxing is fucking atrocious. It's just that yet Valet is just slightly more aggressive than the guy he fought on the Contender Series, and that's how he won that fight. Like he's not very good. I don't have very high hopes for him. And Connor Matthews, I know he's lost his first two fights in the UFC via round one or two knockout or just finish in general. But in hindsight, I think Matthews is pretty good. Like Jose Jose Delgado, he's actually good. Like I know he got caught with like a spinning back fist as he tried to move into the kick. You know, you're not really throwing that shit unless you have some form of talent like Jose Delgado. And I think Matthews, he's very good at the basics. He can get muscled, which I am worried for, but I don't rate Valle's skills, especially in the clinch. He has no idea what he's doing other than just like throwing aggressive knees to the knee. Other than that, he doesn't do much. He just relies on pure aggression to win his fights. Whereas I think Connor Matthews has some form of skill, even though he hasn't really been able to show that much in his fights in the UFC. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Connor Matthews actually gets the upset here. Maybe he can get a submission. I know he's been getting a lot of submissions in his regional career, but if not, he'll probably comfortably ride this out 30, 27, 29, 28 decision. Moving on, we got Jared Gordon versus Thiago Moises. I'm gonna go with Jared Gordon on this one. Thiago Moises has not been looking too good in his last few fights. He lost to Ludwig Klein. Uh, he got ragdolled by Benoit Saint-Denis. I know he's coming off a win with Trey Ogden. Trey Ogden is not good. I think Jared Gordon is a lot better than a Trey Ogden. You know, Jared Gordon, he has very good takedown defense. He's very solid in the basics all around. Great jab. He pushes forward a lot. He can stuff takedowns. He can shoot takedowns when necessary just to keep people on edge. I think Jared Gordon is going to be good enough defensively in the grappling to where like Thiago Moises won't be able to establish stuff. Like, yeah, can Moises take the back of Jared Gordon and just like find the body triangle and then look for the rear naked choke or something like that? Maybe. But when's the last time Thiago Moises really done that? Like Trey Ogden, his grappling zero, and Moises wasn't able to get him out. And over again, he's been losing a lot of his fights. So I don't really rate Moises that highly right now. Whereas Jared Gordon, he's not elite caliber, but he's very tricky to deal with. And I think over the course of 3 rounds, Jared Gordon he does build up into the fight, whereas Thiago Moises fades. And it's not like Moises has this great finishing potential in the first place. So I'm gonna say that Jared Gordon keeps this fight on the feet. Uh, 29-28, 30-27 decision. Like I'm not gonna say that Jared Gordon outright TKOs Thiago Moises because Jared Gordon he doesn't have that much pop in his hands. But again, he's very solid in the basics, and I think that's enough to beat a guy like Thiago Moises. Moving on, we got Gabe Green versus Matheus Camilo. I couldn't find video footage of Matheus Camilo, but I'm gonna go with Matheus Camilo simply because he's fighting Gabe Green. Like Gabe Green, he's not very good. He has a lot of losses in his UFC career. Lost to Brian Battle, lost to Ian Machado Gary, lost to Daniel Rodriguez, which aren't bad losses, but I don't remember what Gabe Green does well. I really don't. Like here and there, he has like wins over like lightweights like Jalen Turner and Chris Padilla, like back in the regional scene. But outside of that, he has yet to be able to transfer that success in the UFC lightweight division. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Matheus Camilo. Uh, again, if you guys don't know who he is, which because the UFC for some reason doesn't show any of their fucking upcoming, like I guess debuting prospects in their database. This fucking shit company. Uh, he's like 24 years old. He's like an upcoming prospect who's on like a 7 fight win streak, and I just rate. Again, I haven't seen him fight before, but he's very active. So and he's very hungry to like prove himself. Whereas Gabe Green, he's like 32, 33 years old. He's taking his time in between fights, and I don't think he has the hunger to really prove himself. Whereas Matheus Camilo does. So I'm gonna say that Matheus Camilo should win this fight. I don't know, probably by finish. I wouldn't be surprised by finish, but if he doesn't, uh maybe like a comfortable decision. again, this is pure vibes. Like I just don't trust Gabe Green. He's lost too many times for me to like really trust him to like beat anyone that the UFC, I guess, like wants to promote as a prospect. And I think the UFC wants to promote Matheus Camilo as a prospect. All right, moving on, we got Julian Erosa versus Melquizael Costa. Now, on paper, I think Julian Erosa wins this fight. But the problem is, you can't really trust Julian Erosa to win a fight. You know, like Julian Erosa, he'll let you down no matter what, unless he's fighting like fucking Darren Elkins. But can I be real? In the fight with Darren Elkins, like last month, Julian Erosa also looked really slow. Like he looked really bad. Like I know he put away Darren Elkins in the first round, but man, like it felt like if Darren Elkins had some semblance of athleticism, Julian Erosa would look like the old man, hobbling around without his like trying to reach for his like fucking cane on the ground or some shit like that. Like I just don't rate the performance that Julian Erosa had against Darren Elkins, which maybe it was Darren Elkins more than Julian Erosa. I just I don't know. Like I just don't see Julian Erosa winning. Like he's won a lot of fights recently, which I get that, but I can't trust Julian Erosa to win. Like he always wins when I don't want him to win, and now that he's won too many fights, I feel like it's gonna be one of those fights where like he's gonna lose. Like keep in mind, Julian Erosa's lost to Sung Woo Choi, Alex Caceres by finish. Like he's really testing the I guess the coin flip, and I can't trust a fighter like that. I know what I'm gonna get from Malik Costa though. He's gonna look to grapple a lot. He's good at throwing kicks, which maybe it's not gonna be as effective because Julian Rosas is taller than him. But I think Costa, I just rate I just rate his abilities like consistently more than I rate Julian Rosa. Like 1 minute Julian Erosa will look like a world beater, and the next minute he'll look like a frail old man. I can't really trust that. It's like who knows when Julian Rosa is gonna uh return to pumpkin watch, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Malik Costa wins a unanimous decision, maybe a split decision, but I think I just trust Malik Costa, especially in the later rounds. Which I get that Julian Rosa, he's a marauder, but again, I just don't trust his finishing capabilities when he's like finishing Christian Rodriguez, but then somehow losing to fucking Sung Choi. Moving on, we got Dustin Stoltzfus versus Nursulton Ruziboev. This one's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna go with Nursulton Ruziboev. Dustin Stoltzfus is not good. I know he KO'd Marc Andre Barrios in the first round. I think Marc Andre Barrios' chin is completely gone, so I don't really mean anything to me. And Nursulton Ruziboev, he's he's pretty good. He's actually pretty good. Like in hindsight, like Buckley is very good, and plus Ruziboyev drained himself down to welterweight. I rate Ruziboyev a lot more as a middleweight. He KO'd Bruno Ferreira in the first round with the uppercut, I believe, and he hasn't really lost a middleweight fight. Whereas Dustin Stoltzfus, he's not okay. Yeah, he's losing to decent level opposition like Bruno Ferreira and Abus Magomedov, but I think Ruziboyev is at a comparable level to those guys. And if you're a comparable level to those guys, like he should get the first round finish against Dustin Stoltzfus. Like Dustin Stoltzfus is a bullyable. He is very bullyable. Again, the only time he hasn't shown that was against the Canadian, conveniently in Marc Andre Barrios. So I'm going to say that Nursultan Ruziboyev should get a round one or round two TKO, and anything other than that is going to be disappointing, unless it's a submission, which in case I'll probably rate that even more. Moving on, we got Sodiq Yuseff versus Marion Santos. Ooh. It's okay, that's weird. They have Sodiq Yuseff as the underdog. But I'm gonna go with Sadiq Yuseff. Marion Santos. He very much disappointed me in this fight with Francis Marshall. Which again, maybe Francis Marshall made a lot of improvements, but is it that Francis Marshall made that much improvement, or is Marion Santos not as good as we thought? You know, like he's going to a scrap with Khan Awfully. Khan Awfully is a tomato can. In hindsight, going to war with the tomato cannon Khan Awfully is not a great look. Whereas I believe Sadiq Yusuf is still really good. He's like, I know he's coming off the loss to Diego Lopez. That's fucking Diego Lopez. Is Marion Santos gonna be the next Diego Lopez or something like that? Probably not. So I'm gonna say that Sadiq Yusuf, he's been it's been a while since he's fought, but he's been doing this. He's done this before. I think he's gonna fraud check Marion Santos. I think Sadiq Yusuf is a little bit too dynamic for Santos. Santos, he like if he's not just knocking you out in the pocket, it's not like he can pick his shots that well. Like Francis Marshall dropped him in the first round. And outside of that, Santos was barely able to outstrike Francis Marshall in the last two rounds. I think Sadiq Yusuf will destroy Francis Marshall, not necessarily by KO, but I think he'll like definitively beat someone like Francis Marshall. So I'm gonna say that Sadiq Yusuf wins 30-27, 29-28. And this is honestly a much lower step in competition for Sadiq Yusuf. So I think yeah, Sadiq Yusuf, I think he's too experienced. I know he's coming off a lot of losses, but again, they're far better than Marion Santos in my opinion. So yeah, Sadiq Yusuf should get the job done. Up the card, we got Rodolfo Bellato versus Paul Craig. Am I crazy to think that part of me is thinking that Paul Craig can fluke this? Like Rodolfo Bellato arguably lost to Jimmy Crute. Like if you're arguably losing to Jimmy Crute in 2025, I don't rate that. I do not rate that whatsoever. Ooh. Well, Paul Craig, he lost to Bo Nickel, who's shit. Ooh, he then lost to he got ragdolled by Brendan Allen. It's all right. He got destroyed by Kyle Baralo. Ooh, this is very awkward. Like everything should tell me that Rodolfo Bellato should win, but I can so see a fluke submission from Paul Craig on this one. I can really see that. Like in the grappling with Jimmy Crew, Rodolfo Bellato looked like a fucking retard. And I think he's retarded enough to jump in Paul Craig's guard for some reason. Like I know that's the only way Paul Craig wins a fight is if you jump in his guard. But I think that Rodolfo Bellato is it's not like his grappling is good. And again, he's stupid. If anything, he's very stupid when it comes to grappling. So I think I can definitely see Bellato jumping into guard for some reason and getting fluke triangles in the third round. And on the feet, he doesn't look that much impressive. Put away Jimmy Crute in 2025. Like if you have any semblance of talent in the light heavyweight division, you got to put away Jimmy Crute on the feet, which Bellato unfortunately didn't. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go with Bellato. Like a part of me is very tempted in the Paul Craig like fluke submission, but there's a reason why I keep calling it a fluke. Like trusting Paul Craig to win a fight is like hitting $1,000 on slots and then putting that all in on the blackjack table for like I don't know for like double the money, which I think that's a terrible analogy, but you get my point. Like you can't trust Paul Craig to win a fight. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Rodolfo Bellato should win, probably by knockout. Like if Bellato touches Paul Craig's chin and Craig doesn't get absolutely starched, I'm gonna be very disappointed. But I I can rely more on Bellato just chinning Paul Craig more than I can rely on Paul Craig fluking a submission. And unfortunately for Paul Craig, he's probably gonna get cut from the UFC after this. And yeah, I just see that Rodolfo Bellato should win probably within the first 2 rounds of the fight. All right, moving on to the main event, we got Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. Finally, we get to a decent fight. A couple things to note. I don't agree with the odds here. Plus 575 for Gilbert Burns is crazy, and minus 850 for Michael Morales is insane. With that being said, I still believe in Michael Morales. I just don't like the momentum Gilbert Burns is on. Like, yeah, he's lost to like again Bilal Muhammad, former champion, Jack Della Maddalena by KO and comeback KO in the 3rd round, current champion, and Sean Brady, the next contender in line. Like those are, I won't say they're bad losses, but he's not losing to like fucking Carlos Prates or someone on the come up. Like Michael Morales, I don't think he's at the level of Bilal Muhammad, JDM, or a Sean Brady, but I think Gilbert Burns is kind of done. You know, like Michael Morales, he's very tall. He's got very long arms, and I think Gilbert Burns is gonna have a hard time trying to land the shots he needs to in order to beat Michael Morales. Like Gilbert Burns, over the last few fights he's won, which aren't that many. Like his last win is against fucking Jorge Masvidal in 2023. So that should really tell you something. But I think Gilbert Burns, the only way he wins this fight is if he just like out grapples Michael Morales for 5 rounds and just like holds him down like for 5 rounds, which could happen because Morales did get held against the fence by Neil Magny for a bit. But again, Burns is gonna have to like not get clipped by anything dangerous over the course of 5 rounds. And I think that Morales will be able to chin Burns with something crazy at some point in the fight. Is Burns gonna be able to tank the shots? I'm not too sure, you know? Ever since he got knocked out by JDM, Burns has looked very, I guess, tentative. Now maybe it's because Sean Brady is just a different animal. But in that fight with Sean Brady, I thought Gilbert Burns looked so washed. Like he couldn't really put anything together other than like a flying knee that like partially lands. I just think Morales is on a very good momentum. Like you got to consider this within like the top 10-ish area of the division. Momentum is everything, you know? So I'm going to say that Michael Morales, he's on like a 5 fight win streak, whereas Gilbert Burns, again, lost to Bilal Muhammad, lost to JDM, lost to Sean Brady. I don't like that. I really don't. Michael Morales, I think what's gonna happen is that Morales is gonna be able to find his shots, pick apart Gilbert Burns. Like, can Gilbert Burns clip him with an overhand right? Yeah, but uh it's been a while since Burns has been able to knock anyone out with that or like drop anyone. Like the last time he did it was against Hamza Chimaev. Yeah, it was against Hamza Chimaev, which can I be real? Like that has been a very long time, you know? How many fights do we have to go through before we say like Gilbert Burns, he's not really gonna knock anyone out with the overhand right? Like it could happen, but I'm not gonna rely on it after I've seen him fight like what 7, 8 times since, and he hasn't been able to do it once. So yeah, based on their recent fights, I'm gonna say that Michael Morales wins, and unfortunately for Gilbert Burns, I think this is it. Prime Gilbert Burns, I would have picked to beat Michael Morales. I would have been like, maybe it's a little bit too soon for Morales. He does leave his chin up in the air. He kind of relies on his frame a little bit too much. And when you do hold him in the grappling, like it's not like he's like busting out there. That came out wrong. Like he's not like exploding out there to get back to the feet. I'm gonna say that Michael Morales should get get the job done. Probably by like round 3 TKO. Yeah, by the third round, I think he's gonna overwhelm Gilbert Burns and just destroy Gilbert Burns on the feet and m- probably put him away in brutal fashion. All right, that's gonna be it for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below who you think will win the main event for this weekend. But yeah, regardless, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment and like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.